It was a perfect afternoon. The sun shone brightly in the sky, casting a golden glow over the beautifully decorated outdoor wedding venue. The soft sounds of violins played as guests took their seats, eagerly waiting for the bride's entrance. The groom, dressed in a classic black suit, stood at the altar, his heart racing with excitement. Today was the happiest day of his life. Just as the ceremony was about to begin, a quiet murmur spread through the crowd. Heads turned, whispers filled the air, and people gasped in surprise. A stray dog, thin and covered in dust, had wandered into the venue. Its ribs were visible, its fur matted, and its eyes carried a sadness that tugged at the heart. Some guests chuckled, while others looked around, expecting someone to remove the dog. The wedding planner rushed forward, her expression filled with frustration. "Who let this dog in? We need to get it out of here," she hissed under her breath. But before she could reach the animal, the bride appeared. Dressed in a flowing white gown, she looked like a vision of grace and beauty. However, her gaze wasn't fixed on the altar. It was locked onto the dog. She paused mid-step, her heart pounding. There was something strangely familiar about this stray. Something that made her chest tighten with emotion. The dog, as if sensing her thoughts, took hesitant steps forward. The guests watched in stunned silence as the bride slowly bent down, extending her hand. The dog sniffed her fingers, then licked them gently. A tear rolled down the bride's cheek. "No, it can't be," she whispered. The groom, who had been watching in confusion, took a step forward. "What's going on?" he asked softly. The bride turned to him, eyes filled with disbelief. "I know this dog. I know him." A hush fell over the crowd. She turned back to the stray, gently stroking its fur. "Years ago, before I moved away, I had a dog just like this. His name was Toby. He was my best friend. But one day he went missing. I searched for weeks. I thought I lost him forever." The groom knelt beside her, carefully examining the dog. His fingers brushed against its neck, and suddenly his breath hitched. There, hidden beneath the dirt and tangled fur, was a faint, worn-out leather collar. He reached for the small metal tag attached to it, wiping away the dust. The crowd leaned in, waiting. The tag read, "Toby. If found, return to Sarah." A collective gasp echoed through the venue. The bride covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking. Tears streamed down her face. "Toby, you came back." The dog whimpered, wagging its tail weakly as if confirming her words. No one knew how it was possible, how fate had led Toby back to his owner at the most important moment of her life. But one thing was clear. This was no ordinary interruption. This was a miracle. The guests, moved by the emotional reunion, wiped away their own tears. Even the wedding planner, who had been furious moments ago, stood frozen in shock. The groom smiled, placing a gentle hand on the dog's head. "I think we just got an unexpected guest at our wedding." The bride nodded, laughing through her tears. "And he's not going anywhere." From that moment on, Toby became an honored guest at the ceremony. The bride and groom exchanged vows with him sitting by their side. And when they had their first dance as a married couple, Toby lay happily at their feet, as if he had never been gone. As the night ended, the newlyweds made a decision. Toby would not be a stray ever again. He was coming home, under the stars, with laughter and love filling the air. One thing was certain. This was not just a wedding. This was a story of love, loss, and an incredible reunion that would be remembered forever.